All right, so as people are coming in, it's one of those hybrid days, so hello to everyone in the branch and to everyone who is watching on Zoom. My name is Peter Scheer. I have the great honor of serving as the chair of the Mid-Atlantic region for JPMorgan Chase, an area that I have called home now for more than 40 years, and I am just so thrilled to welcome all of you to our Skyland Community Center branch. I want to thank the mayor who is here, and we're just great honor. I was just saying the mayor was with us 3 years ago in April of 2018 when Jamie came down and we were with Governor Hogan and Governor Northam and announced that we were going to open 70 branches in 5 years. We have come a very long way in a very short period of time, and I got to say to Dan Deegan and John McKinley and the team, what they have accomplished during this period of time is just extraordinary. So today we are at 58 branches in the region, and by the end of the year, 2 years early, we will have our 70th branch in this region, and this is our third in Anacostia. So we couldn't be more pleased. And look, this is a really important region for the entire country, and it's a really important region for our firm. It's the third largest economic region in the country. We want to grow, and we want to help this region grow. But for this region to grow, these communities have to grow and thrive as well. And this is why these branches are so important. I know there's some that will say the branches are a thing of the past, and I can't tell you how much more we disagree with that. These branches are a vital part of the future of our community, and these community centers are going to be a vital part of the future of our branches. And we designed this branch with our Ward 7 and 8 neighbors and partners in mind to help residents of this community build a stronger financial future. And I want to acknowledge the incredible Skyland team who we just got together, our community manager, Brian Atkins, our branch manager, Joelle Williams, the entire Skyland team, Alfonso Guzman, who is our district manager for all the branches from Richmond up through Baltimore. He actually just reminded me it'll soon be Virginia City up to Baltimore. So, but let me just reinforce why this is so important. And the mayor has reminded us of this quite often. A quarter of Washington's population is either unbanked or underbanked. Nearly a third of the D.C. area population is below 200% of the poverty line. We're sitting here in the most powerful city in the world, and these kinds of disparities are just not acceptable, and they're not sustainable. And so with this branch and the partners that we have with us today, we aim to change that, to bridge this racial wealth divide. There's so much more work we can do, but when we started this effort a few years ago, 3 years ago, we made a substantial philanthropic commitment with our partners to really invest in the community. And just in 3 years, that commitment has been leveraged to provide more than $90 million in loans to small businesses and assisted another 10,000 small businesses in technical support. We've helped to create or sustain 12,000 quality jobs and almost 7,500 units of affordable housing. But this work has to continue. And in the weeks and months ahead, you're going to hear much more about how we are going to continue to build and invest and sharpen our focus in this region on the most important challenges, including things DC's women of color, many whom are household breadwinners, the unique role of housing and entrepreneurship, and how do we use that to accelerate wealth creation in the region, and measurable strategies to narrow the racial wealth divide and particularly overcome the setbacks that so many of our families and so many of our businesses have had because of COVID. And we're going to continue to work with all of you, with our community partners, to get it right. And we will be doing as much listening as talking because we want to make sure everything we do is in partnership with the community. Now, none of this would have been possible without incredible community partners. And I know there were a couple. Is Harold here? I know Harold. Oh, there you are, right there. I didn't see you behind the mask. So I want to shout a couple of our Harold Pettigrew, who many of you know, who leads the Washington Area Community Investment Fund. I got to brag on you a little bit. For anyone who missed the recent news, President Biden announced Harold's appointment to the National Community Development Advisory Board, which is a huge which is a huge thing for his voice for this community and for the country. And I know this is not a competition, but sometimes it is. But I noticed of the 9 members that President Biden appointed, 2 of them were from the D.C. region. I think it could have been 3 or 4, but we'll take that. We'll take that. Marla Blanek, who leads the National Association of Latino Community and Asset Builders, will serve on the board as well. I know Kim Ford is here and Monica Ray, who you'll hear from, incredibly important voices for this region. And I finally want to just say, for all of us in this region, none of this would be possible without incredible partnership throughout JPMorgan Chase. We're very honored. Jennifer Roberts is here, the CEO of Chase Consumer Banking for the entire country. Although, Mayor, a die-hard Baltimore Ravens fan. We just have to sort of get it out there. I mean, serious die-hard Ravens fan. And you'll hear from Stevie Barron, who's here. I mentioned Dan and John McGinley, and just thanks to all of you. And I want to bring up a good friend and a great partner who's going to talk about how we approach these community centers. Lawrence Bailey, who's the head of Consumer, Community, and Business Development for the firm. We would not be here today if it wasn't for Lawrence's vision and his team's work to make this a reality. So, Lawrence, as we say in Washington, the floor is yours. Thank you, man. Okay.
Hey, thanks, Peter. And yeah, I'm a Ravens fan, too. But I'm from the DMV, so I claim Washington, too. So I'm going to claim it all. A couple of thoughts, too, and I'm excited to be here. But as Peter mentioned, he talked about the commitment we've had in D.C. for years and the impact that we want to have. And I want to just talk a little bit about the people connection for just 2 seconds. And I had the opportunity to come here probably 3 months ago just to see kind of the construction and meet the folks. And the people connection is interesting because when I think about Washington, D.C., which I'm a native of the DMV, I think about the iconic figures that born and raised here. And I was going through history and thinking about Frederick Douglass and Langston Hughes, the great Duke Ellington, who my mom loves, and my grandmother, who is 104 years old, who lived 2 miles down the street here. So this is my community, and it really feels that way. And Peter knows when we announced we're coming to market expansion, I sent you an email and said thank you. And I should have sent to everyone here, including Mr. Diamond and everyone else, Jamie, but this is a big day for us. So let's talk about the people for a second. And those iconic figures, let's think about today's figures that are here in this branch. Fun story. Brian Atkins, who's our newest community manager, grew up in this community. Where's Brian at? And the fun fact, hey, Brian. And the crazy thing that I learned, which is how people are connected. You're going to hear today from Kim Ford. You're going to hear from Monica. You're going to hear from a bunch of folks. Brian used to work at a nonprofit in this community. And I remember this. It was called Far East Collaborative. For 10 years, a nonprofit that's doing great work helping kids and families reach their potential. Well, Brian came back to the community to be the community manager here because he said, I want to get back. There's the connection. You think about Kim Ford, you're going to hear from. The branch manager here, Jua Williams, used to work. Oh, we got some fans of Jua. Jua used to work for Kim Ford. He's now giving back. And when I had the chance to come out, and Kim Ford knows this, she took me to lunch, and Monica and a few folks got a little extra food, by the way. The bill was a little high, but thank you for that. They basically sat down and told me, the reason why these communities are connected and why this is going to work is because you hired people from the community to work in the community. And that's what we're doing here across all the ABs, associate bankers, all the bankers, all the folks working here. We are from the community, working in the community, and that's the connection to how this is going to work. So shout out to all you folks that made this happen. Last but not least, just on a national scale, just for some context, as Peter said, we're going to have 17 of these community centers opened across the country. This is our 9th. We're going to have 150 community managers in the same vein as Mr. Brian Atkins, our new community manager. And we're going to do this every day, all day, and be present in the community. So on behalf of myself, a native of the DMV, and all the family here at Chase, we want to thank you for coming out. And I have the honor and the privilege of introducing our CEO and chairman, Mr. Jamie Dimon. Jamie?
Okay, Mayor, thank you for coming here. Everyone really appreciate coming here. After listening to Peter and Lawrence, you left nothing for me left to say. So I'm just going to add a few thoughts, okay, which is, obviously, I'm the chairman and CEO of a company called JPMorgan Chase. A lot of people look at that company, it's a global company, operating in 100 countries, and you're the chairman and CEO, and you live in some ivory tower somewhere. But this is what makes me proud of the company. All our company is 5,000 branches. It was Lawrence and Peter who came up with the idea of community branches, community managers, which is outstanding. I mean, I am so proud of you and opening these branches. And you've heard, we hire local people. We have local art. We want it to be very welcoming. We're going to use this room to, do financial education for mothers and ex-felons and small businesses. And that's what it is, trying to just build a community place by place. And, this is the beginning. So when we announce these huge things like a $30 billion commitment, which includes affordable housing, mortgages for black folks, and affordable housing for black and Latinx, and small business financing and financial education, it happens here. How many mortgages we're going to make in Anacostia? How many mortgage offices are we going to have in Anacostia? And that's the kind of planning we actually do. So I'm just thrilled to be here. I mean, I find it unbelievable. I've now been to like 6 or 7 of them, because I've been to L.A. with you, Crenshaw, and Harlem, and Detroit, and Chicago, the south side of Chicago, right where President Obama is opening up his new library today. So thank you all for coming. And Mayor, particularly thank you. It's been a while. You've been to a bunch of these branches. We deeply appreciate what you're doing in Washington, D.C. We're happy to be a small part of trying to make it a better community for all the folks involved here. And the floor is yours.
Well, good morning, everybody. And I am very happy to be here. I want to thank Jamie for being here. And I want to let you know how great a job your team is doing here. And Peter has not only been a great representative for JPMorgan Chase, but a strong member of the business community. And we really appreciate that. Never letting us forget how important it is that we're investing in our workforce all over the city, and that we're building the workforce for the future. As we sit here, we're in a bank. There's money in a bank. There's opportunity to get loans in a bank. There's opportunity to buy a home in a bank, buy a car in the bank, get a home improvement loan in a bank. It's an opportunity when you come to a bank to build your life and make your life better. So a lot of things can happen here. And it's so important that in every community, we have everything. So you can go to the bank, to the grocery store, to the pharmacy. You can go to a sit-down restaurant. You can go to a great park, have a great school, have safe streets. And that's exactly the community that we've been pouring into here at Skyland Town Center. And we have the Rappaport companies to really thank for sticking with Hillcrest and Ward 7 and getting us to this point. So I want to thank our entire development team, Chris Smith, all the contractors and workers who have helped get Skyland here. You might not know this, but I'm the 5th mayor to be working on Skyland, but I'm the last mayor to be working on Skyland. And I want to thank the commissioner, the Hillcrest Community Center, and everybody for all that you've done to get us here today. So we were together, you may remember, it's been 3 years, Peter reminded me, where you had the opportunity to announce expansion, I think for the first time in many years. And you told us then that you were going to open 70 branches in 5 years in the metropolitan Washington area. And you're on track. You haven't been stopped by COVID or any other thing, but you're on track to meet that commitment. And to have 3 branches right in Ward 8 neighborhoods is spectacular. So just know that our commitment as a city is to pour into developments like this. And in addition to opening this beautiful branch with people from the neighborhood working here at a very prominent corner, we're also happy that the development team here keeps signing leases and keeping more promises. I understand that one more lease has been signed with the Roaming Rooster, and they won a Rammy last year, so they're coming here to Skyland. We're also happy that we can announce our first recipient of a food access fund. Keep in mind the theme here is getting money out into the communities. And a business is expanding. They have a Ward 1 location. Now they're going to have a Ward 7 location here at Skyland, and that is half smoke. That's fun. So I have this theory, Jamie, that if you're successful in one part of the city, I should help you open up in another part of the city. And that's going to be our strategy to continue to get food access right here in our communities. So Chase, we know, is also very active in supporting businesses and investing in housing, which is our top priority. We know we have a great region. You say we're third, we're going to keep trying to become second until we can become first. But we know that this is a great region, and we have to continue to be competitive so that people want to live here and work here. I know we're all thinking about what the new way of work will be, but one thing I know for sure, if we want to keep good workers in our region, and we do, we have to have great neighborhoods with great amenities that serve everything. We are so pleased that JPMorgan Chase has recently provided the community of hope, which is so important in our community, with a $20 million new market tax credit to help fund the relocation and construction of a family health and birth center, another priority for us here in Washington. Thank you. Thank you. And our entire team at DMPAD, I know our Deputy Mayor is here, John Felchicchio, with our Director of Real Estate, Sarosh Otpadwala, is very focused on how we're going to get this done. I understand that we're going to hear also from two dynamic women who help make Ward 7 and 8 and Washington, D.C. great. And they are great friends of the city, and Kim Ford and Monica Ray. So thank you for your leadership and everything that happens in community development. So again, welcome JPMorgan Chase to Skyland.
Oh, good morning, everyone. So excited to have you. I've got to remember to remove my mask. So excited to have you. It is indeed my privilege to be before you on this morning and welcoming you to the Skyland Community Center. I am Michelle Lawrence, the Community Development Executive for Market Expansion, and have the privilege of leading folks like Brian Atkins. And so we're going to move right into the component where we are talking to the fabulous women that the mayor has talked about, that Peter Scheer has also shared. And so I'm going to welcome them up. First, we're going to welcome up Miss Kim Ford from Martha's Table. And as you can tell, this is already going to be a hoot. So, and now we're also going to welcome up none other than Monica Ray from Congress Heights. So glad to have you. I know. So, it's... I know, just jump.
Ashley said to me earlier, they're like, you're looking short today. The chair is taller than me.
So you already know what you're in for. Okay? It is indeed a privilege to have both of you, to have this opportunity to have a conversation, a candid one. And I'll tell you, I'm not a Washingtonian, but when I first came here, Brian said, the women you have to meet, and here's the third one, she's hanging out there in the back, Miss Dion from Far Southeast Collaborative, right? So you already heard that shout out, but he insisted that the women that I get in front of first were Dion, Monica, and absolutely none other than Kim. And so with the time that we have, I certainly want to say, first of all, thank you for the Herculean work that you do inside of this community. And we're going to talk more about what you do and how you do it. And so I'll start. Monica's looking at me. So are you starting with me? Yes. Yes, we'll start with you. Monica, the vision that you have at Congress Heights, the work that you have done in this community for years on years. Would you just tell us, how were you able to continue to do what you do even amidst the pandemic last year for this community?
It's really about motivation. I came to Washington, D.C. almost 30 years ago and fell in love with a neighborhood called Congress Heights that most of us didn't know where it was. I looked at Events DC's collateral, and the maps of D.C. somehow cut off right below Capitol Hill. And it became my mission to make sure that people understood that this community existed before development and will exist after development. And that becomes my driving motivation day in and day out. Our mayor made an injection into St. E's campus that changed the trajectory of Congress Heights. And for that, I'm so appreciative because there's been more interest in our neighborhoods in the past 10 years than there's been in the past 3 decades. And when I look at Chase's investment and your commitment to people, from Brian, who grew up in Congress Heights, who's worked in Congress Heights, to come back and say to a Lawrence Bailey to say, we need ATMs in Congress Heights. No other bank had said that. So I'm just appreciative for being here and for your investment here. So thank you.
Well, thank you, Monica. Thank you. Kim, the same to you. We know Martha's Table, 41 years strong. I felt like we had the perfect grand opening. Let me just do this real quick. So Friday night, there was an event. Monica had out all night on Saturday. Sunday, we were with Martha's Table celebrating, and now we have the grand opening. So I felt like this whole weekend led up to Skyland. But Monica, 41 years strong, and you were the only nonprofit that did not close. You quadrupled your distribution, and now you're like, Michelle, we want to hit up getting that boutique down there next to the Anacostia Bridge. Would you share with the folks what it looked like for you to be the only, and I have to emphasize, the only one that did not close and to continue to do what you do?
Well, thanks so much. And first, I want to thank you, JPMorgan Chase, Mr. Diamond, Peter, the mayor, everybody, Lawrence, we love you. And my friends like Dion and Monica. I see Connie Spinner in the house. What's up? Dean Spinner. All right. And, of course, shout out to the Martha's Table team. Johanna and David are here. Jewish should be on our team, but he's with JPMC now. So, you know, we going to talk about that later.
No. He belongs to us now.
Okay, well, here's the thing. We pride ourselves on dignity and respect. And how in the world could you ever look somebody in the eye at a time when they need you the most and not be there? And so we knew nothing about COVID. We didn't know what it was, but we knew it was going to be bad. And we knew it was going to hit our communities really, really hard. And we said that we had a duty, a responsibility. We talk all the time. These aren't jobs. These are responsibilities. We have to be there. So, yes, we continued our food. And, yes, we launched community pop-up markets all throughout Ward 8. Yes, we started bringing bags and bags and bags of groceries into seasoned citizens' villages because they couldn't come out. And yes, McKenna's Wagon went out every single night, 7 days a week, even when we had to go through DEA, who used to check our van, and the Capitol Police, and the military police, and MPD. And I like to get a shout out to MPD. They'd be like, that's Martha's Table, y'all good. We have problems with everybody else. But, you know, at the end of the day, when you talk about being a neighbor, and that's when you hear us talk, you don't hear client or customer. We talk about our neighbors. This is what you do for your neighbors. You bring food to your neighbors. And that's what you do in a time of crisis. And in a time of crisis, you also innovate. We launched our first ever cash assistance program. We gave every single one of our families enrolled in our programs $9,000 free and clear so that they could be okay. And that makes a difference. But it makes a difference. It makes a difference when you stand alongside folks, particularly in the times when you're supposed to step up, you know? And we would always say, if not us, who? And if not now, when? And so that's why we talk about Martha's Table for the win. Shout out to the council member White. I see you. What's up?
And so thank you so much. I so appreciate it. When I heard that it was from 500 groceries to 2,000, I said,
a day.
A day. That was just impeccable. And so, Monica, we're going to come to you, and I know you're like, oh, do we have more questions? Just one more. Given what you've already done, what will be your legacy when you decide to transition? I won't say leave because you won't, but what will be your legacy?
Oh, it's very clear. It's 10,000 people who we've trained to go to work. Yeah. The real legacy and transformation for our communities is going to be not necessarily the creation of 36,000 affordable housing, but creating adults who can choose to live wherever they want to live. And that means getting good employment. That means establishing a banking relationship. And I have to give Chase a shout out. The mayor's COVID core, we hired 45 people to work this summer. And the 45 people showed up to us unemployed, and almost all were unbanked. And I reached out to Brian and said, we need to get these people bank accounts because they're going to get direct deposits. Chase Bank showed up in 2 days' notice, and those 45 people, 37 of which were unbanked, are now 100% banked.
Nice.
So our legacy is really about creating adults that are able to sustain and live in Washington, D.C. So I'm clear about the legacy.
And now we are.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And Ms. Kim, what will be your legacy?
I think for us, the Martha's Table legacy is that it's time to change the way that nonprofits do business, and that it's time for nonprofits to act like businesses. And the speech that I used to give over and over and over again was, in economic downturns, that's actually when businesses innovate. And it's not surprising that Apple just launched all of their new product lines, right? Because we're in an economic downturn, and that's when you innovate. And nonprofits have to look like that and act like that and behave like that. And that means doing things like, again, leaning into and jumping into and cannonballing into risk, not being risk averse. So many nonprofits for decades and decades and decades are dealing with the exact same thing that they've been dealing with. And in many communities, the situations have gotten worse, not better. You got to innovate. You have to be different. That also means that you stand behind the communities. It means that you actually, again, as a business, y'all are a business, you're customer driven. If your customers tell you that I want to do this, that, and the third, what are you going to do? This, that, and the third. Nonprofits tend to think, well, you know, we want to be there for you, but we think that we know what you want and need. No. You listen to them and you go all in. You go all in for what they say because they know exactly what they need. They know what they want. They know the difference between the two, and they can funnel everything out. And so that's what we would like the legacy of Martha's Table to be, that we told the market that what's happening in nonprofits isn't the way that nonprofits can and should do business, and that we need to be very, very different, because that's what's actually going to help people stay and thrive, particularly here in the District of Columbia. You know, I'm a proud native Washingtonian. See my cousin Sam Ford over here. Shout out to you. We don't know each other, but his last name's Ford, so is mine. But the point is that's what I hope that our legacy is going to be at Martha's Table, is to show folks that, you know, you look at things differently, and when you change that lens, and when you seriously center on dignity and respect, and you have courage, there's just amazing things you can do.
I want to thank both Monica and Kim, and know that we are equally committed to lock arms with you to have huge success in the D.C. region. In particular, that this room that you're in right now is going to be a room where we listen, we learn, and we continue to lead, and that we continue to partner with wonderful, wonderful leaders like yourself. Thank you so much for being a part of this panel and for coming in. I'm sure I'm going to hear about it later, but we appreciate you, and thank you so very much.
Thank you.
It is now my privilege to turn it over to Brian Atkins and Jua Williams.
So good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Brian Atkins. I'm the Skyland Community Manager. Being a product of Ward 8 and still a resident of Ward 8, this is my home, and I'm proud to say that. As Councilmember White would say, the great Ward 8. Our community is special. Our people, our culture, the resilience of our residents. We've been faced with adversity time and time again, and yet we've overcome. Helping our community and residents is my passion, and that's what I love to do. Our residents want a place of their own to call home, a place they can be proud of and create long-lasting memories. But these things cannot happen with support. As a community manager, my role coupled with my passion for helping others, is to support the community. I do this by bringing access to resources and tools that will impact families, businesses, and the next generation of residents here in D.C. to make their tomorrows better than their todays. And today, I'm excited to share what resources we'll bring to the Skyland Community Branch. I'm currently teaching classes on financial health topics such as savings, building credit, small business, entrepreneurship, and money management. Business owners and startups can gain access to resources and capital so they can be more successful. The Skyland team and I would like to thank you and invite you to stop by the branch to have a discussion with us in the future. I'd also like to thank the residents who joined us today. First, I'll start with Councilmember Trayon White, Ms. Connie Spinner, Dion Bussey Reeder. And just to speak a second, I'm off topic, but Dion, you really molded me, from the start till now. You really brought me to the place where I feel that we have a great connection, and just thanks for empowering me. Tyrone White with MLK Deli. Tendani Metapabusi. Thank you. And Harold Pettigrew. So thank you for the residents who come. We cannot do it without you. And now I'll hand it over to my colleague, Jewel Williams, our branch manager, who will tell us a little bit more about the features of our community center and introduce you to our team. Jewel will take it away.
Good morning, everybody. I get to take my mask off. Good morning again. Not just to those of you in the room, but to those of you on Zoom, good morning. I am excited to be here, and I hope I'm not the only one. Are you guys excited to be here? No. I can't really tell that you all are excited. Are you all excited to be here? Thank you very much. I, for one, I'm certainly excited because this, for me personally, gives me the opportunity to continue to serve D.C., its residents, right? This allows me, I'm a native to the area, not a native Washingtonian, but to the area, as I would say. I grew up in PG County, moved to D.C. in 2000, and I've been living in Ward 8 ever since. I started my career in banking in 2000. Throughout the years, I've come across a lot of customers with various backgrounds. And one of the things that has always motivated me is being able to have the opportunity to use my knowledge and my experience in order to make sure that I help others reach their goals. Right? When I get that thank you, when I get that gratification, that sincere appreciation for me being able to have an impact in somebody's life from taking them from A to Z to be able to accomplish a financial goal has always been rewarding to me. So we're excited about our community center here in D.C. The community center combines state-of-the-art banking, technology, and modern design. And the room that we're gathered here in today, the community room, which can be used for workshops, meetings, and events, right, is really what brings this branch alive. So I'm proud. I'm proud of the team that we've built, right, in Tashi, Iwari, Candace, Bianca, all right, Michaela, Ingrid, Devon, this talent that has come together. Can we please give it up for them, please? A round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. Together we help our neighbors imagine a better financial future. So thank you again to everybody for joining us. Again, those of you on Zoom, those of you here in the room, thank you very much for joining us. We definitely appreciate you, and they are excited for what's to come. All right? So we're going to ask our chairman and CEO, Jamie Dimon. I'm sorry. Councilmember Gray is in the room. We would definitely like for you to be able to come and have a few words and address the crowd.
Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning. What a great day this is. I want to thank everybody for inviting me to come out and be a part of this. This has been a long time coming, And man, it is a fantastic unveiling of a continuing effort to create what we've been able to create here at Skyland, Mayor. So we are delighted about that. I want to thank all the agencies who've come together to be able to make this happen. And I want to thank, all the leaders here in Hillcrest and Ward 7 that have worked hard to bring these amenities to an area of the city that at one time didn't think it was going to have these opportunities at all. We've got lots of Ward 7 leaders who are involved and who are here with us today. And it is a great coming, to put it that way, to put it that way for me anyway. I was absolutely thoroughly pleased to be able to see, to work with you, Mayor, to be able to get this done where we are today. It's the first coming of a drive-through Starbucks here in the District of Columbia, and what an accomplishment that is. I could list all the square feet of opportunities that we have here, 130,000 square feet of full retail, a full-service grocery store that is going to be located here, a medical building, 260 residential units that will be located here, and there'll be 5 new food service options that will be available. Imagine us saying that we're going to have full-service restaurants in Ward 7. That is a fantastic opportunity that we are delighted to be able to have. We'll have a roaming rooster. We'll have pizza opportunities. We'll have a smoothie, tropical cafe, and we'll have others. There's going to be lots of work that's done here, and there's a lot of work involved in the labor that has brought us here today. There was a time when we thought it was going to be Walmart. Boy, that was a long time ago, wasn't it? And they're now in the dust that way. So, but in any event, we're delighted to have these opportunities, and I'm looking forward to coming myself to partake of all the opportunities that will be available here in Skyland, and all the residential opportunities that will be here as well. So I want to thank everybody who's here today. I want to thank all the neighbors, the residents, everybody who have really pitched in hard to make Hillcrest the reality, Hillcrest Skyland at this point to be the reality that it is. There are, 75,000 residents or more who will be a part of the efforts that we are involved in here. And so everybody who's excited about this, let's hoop and holler and have one heck of a day today. Thank you.
And with that, let's cut this ribbon. All right?
Hold on, I got one more comment. All right, I'm coming behind Monica. All right, you good.
Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
That's all right.
Okay.
Your name on there.
What is it? Okay, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.